Welcome everybody to the Onward VR Master League Season 12, Week 12. My name is NightFiree with 2 E's. I'm your sole conductor in today's journey through the upper echelons of the VRML regular season ladder. Pantheon versus Error 404, duking it out against each other this afternoon, this evening, this fine night. I am excited to see these two teams square up. It should be a bit of an underdog story. If you look at the overall worldwide ladder and the current matchmaking rating of both teams, Error 404 is second place worldwide, 1310 MMR. Pantheon are 14th, with a 1230 MMR. It is about as wide a separation you can get. And so, in terms of a underdog, Pantheon are certainly what you would consider the underdogs. And if we look at the map, the connoisseur vote counts, it is heavily favored in the side of Error 404. But it is always important to remember that just because a team has a heavy vote count does not mean that they will guarantee success. We go back just the other day and look at the Newbies versus Silent Purge. The Newbies came out on top and they had only 1 vote to their name. And so at this level, when you get up in the top 20, really, or anywhere in the anywhere in the top 20, I think I can say pretty comfortably, these teams are competitive and can compete any given day. Sometimes, sure, Error 404 will have a great set and they'll be playing good, and that'll be tough to uproot, as would any team that's in the top 5 worldwide. But I love to see this opportunity here for Pantheon for them to really, climb up the ladder here. Get themselves a couple of points on the board, so to speak, on their MMR, and really, get up into that top 8 position. You know, I always like to bring it up that the top 8 is where you want to be. Top 7, technically, the 8th position decided by that Challenger Cup. I believe that's the format we're sticking with. And you don't want to be... the Challenger Cup is an all-out brawl. A long haul of a tournament through several different maps against different teams. And it is a challenge to climb through that Challenger Cup. But ultimately, we get 1 champion team there, and then we have 8 teams that compete for a now $7,000 in cash and hardware prize pool. And so there is a little bit of something on the line for teams that are really up in the top 20, like I said. Especially because we're down into the back half of the season. We only have a few weeks left. I think a total of 4 if you count this week. And when the opportunities present themselves, you really do have to capitalize. If Pantheon lose here, it's not going to be the end of the world for them. Because of that separation, they shouldn't go down too heavily in rank. Still should be able to compete for that top 7 position with the remaining weeks in the season. But yeah, a big series here for this Pantheon squad. And we have run into a bit of a delay. As you may have noticed, the match starting a little bit later. I believe one over on the side of Error 404. No, excuse me. Yeah. I believe one on the side of Error 404 is fortunately running a little late. And so according to the rules, the match can there's a grace period of 20 minutes from the match start time, the scheduled match start time, to when you have to start the match with a potential 4v5. We're not quite there yet. We have another 4 or 5 minutes until we get to that 20-minute mark. But the lobby is still not full on either side. And so we are waiting for both teams still to populate the lobby. But we have a few more things to discuss outside of prize pool and placements, and that is the picks and bans for the series today. Coming in from Pantheon, we have a quarantine ban. From Error 404, a abandoned ban. We're going to go over to VRML.com, take a look at the stats of each team to get a deeper dive on maybe why these maps were banned. Over on Error 404, we look at their map percentage in terms of rounds won and win percentage. On abandoned, Error 404 have a 0% win rate. They've played 13 rounds and only won 5. That's this season. And so a map that so far they haven't shown great success on. Likely a ban, therefore, of weakness for Error 404, and that they just don't want to play a map that they have not had a good success rate on. Over on Pantheon, they banned Quarantine. If you look at the match history on Quarantine, even worse, 6-0. With a 0% win rate, 36 rounds played, 10-1. So an equally tough pill to swallow there on Quarantine. Also a ban of weakness. Map number 1 comes in us to, well, unclip that. Comes to us as Subway. Get that to show up, that'd be great. Production team. There we go. Production team got it. Subway is where we're kicking it off. That is a map picked by Pantheon, as they are the home team. They get first map pick of the series. Subway, an 80% win rate. 5-4, 33 rounds played, 21, which is a pretty high rounds win percentage. 61% win rate. The next highest is Paradise. Obviously a few less rounds played, 8-12, but still 67%. And so maybe that's where we can anticipate. I don't think Paradise is in the map pool. As the map pool does rotate throughout the course of the season, it has shifted, and I don't believe Paradise is in that map pool. So we'll see what we get. For this series. I think Snow Peak's still there. Downfall, obviously, in the mix. Okay win rates on both of those maps. Actually, Downfall may be likely to where we head for Pantheon's map pick for map 3. That could be kind of crazy if that's where we get to a map 3 decider. Series decider. Exciting. And also good news. I've bought enough time where both teams are in the lobby. Ready to go. Make sure they're not waiting on me. And we should be hopping into the action. Thank you all for patiently waiting for the beginning of the game to start here. It has been a perfectly legal and fine delay that we have managed just perfectly. Into the action we go. Round number 1 kicks off. Pantheon versus Error 404. Pantheon on the attack. Error 404 on the defense. First objective of the day. Kicks us off over into the north side of Subway. Should be exciting to see how this unfolds here.
Oh, my bad. My bad, guys. Alright, whatever. We're gonna throw that on the ground.
Denny working up here. I think they have a C4. No, a utility piece in hand. Going to be a quick flash up and over, but interestingly enough, the approach here is a heavy south stack from Pantheon. Not a single attacker pushing in from the north. And it is going to cause us to want to evaluate the defensive setup here of Error 404 for this south approach. They do have Badger camouflaged into a tight corner. They've identified their first target, Apollo Graham, between the crates. Between the grading there, doesn't seem like Apollo is getting tagged. They managed to duck down behind a very slim slice of cover. Every shot Badger takes is a moment that they could be giving away their position to the rest of this Pantheon team that is attacking from the bottom here. And it is just a waiting game.
One's directly in the south by the ATM machines.
Badger has now called out one. The rest of the defense stacked heavily over to the north, which is a standard defensive setup in a lot of ways. This south stack is not, though. Jester's caught one. That's going to open up now the south entry down. Apollo Graham may challenge up the stairs. That could run them into John, who is holding this top stairwell. Utility comes in. Graham flies the corner, hugs the left side, so avoids detection by John here. John is going to finally swing out and catch Graham. Absent-minded Prof next up on their hit list as they are just down below. Oh, Dual Shock actually going to try and challenge potentially. And Absent-minded Prof and Dual Shock could collapse together here if they time things up right. Right now, I don't think John's anticipating another. That call out may give overconfidence to Dual Shock on the swing.
He's watching an angle from the north stairs.
And this info.
Let me know when you're ready for me to push him.
At least two guys.
Yeah, I'm gonna push him right now. Okay.
And it seems like I'm pretty sure Prof is communicating here with Dual Shift on the push. Dual Shock on the push. But John is hearing this. John can hear Absent-minded Prof. So he is ready for what could be the push down those stairs. Still, though, John is really trapped here. No support coming in from the north side. That's a big pickup. Is it a double? It is. 3 kills on this defensive position for John, really shutting down the 4-man push of Pantheon up through the center. Now they're into a 2v3 as they try and pinch to the objective. Jester and Freak going for a standard approach, but an unfortunate culling of the south team leaves them weak on that side. Very hard to push down these stairs without a heavy amount of utility and chaos, and I don't know if Freak is going to be able to incite enough of either. I don't think they have enough utility or enough chaos. We'll see, though. Maybe Jester can help out from that south side. Draw a little attention, maybe force a rotation out here from Denny. Oh, but Denny swings. Catches one there, and now they know with an accurate kill count that Jester is the lone attacker for Pantheon from the south. I wonder if the defense shifts at all, because it is still in a bit of risk. If Denny goes down, they have to stand up and sprint to the corner. There comes Icy Enemy Caustic, and yeah, they're not going to be prone watching that north side anymore. Especially after hearing Jester confirm. They have accurate intel that the last attacker is here in the south. There's no way Jester can rotate. Well, if they hit Catwalk now, maybe they could rotate up to north and hit it fast enough, but they only have a minute left on the clock, so not a lot of time. The push here onto the corner. Oh, a conveniently placed smoke grenade on the floor there. Icy swings through it, and those shots connect. Jester finds one. Denny up next on the corner. Jester's looking for the triple. Cossack throws a flash, and it is a nice flash. Jester completely blind, and there's the nice corner shot. But almost the 1v3 coming true as Error 404 clutch it with one left alive. If this is what we're getting here for the rest of this series, I'm not going to have a voice by the end of map 1. We didn't have a time to dive into the rosters for today, but obviously you've seen them after round 1. Over on Pantheon, it's Freak, Jester, DualShock, Apollogram, and Absent-Minded Prof. And over on Error 404, it's Badger Zombie, Amy Cossack, John, CZ1, Denny, and Icy19. I believe standard rosters for both squads. Go ahead and look at their active rosters. Yes, they are all, I believe, rostered players on their respective teams. Yeah. The usual suspects. We haven't had too many casts of either squad, really. I think Error 404 with only 2 or 3 casts this season. Pantheon with only 1 or 2. Both teams playing plenty of games this season as well. And I mean, this is going to be a pretty good matchup. For Pantheon to take it that close, though, maybe a touch concerning for Error 404. We'll have to see how next round goes as we get back to it with round number 2. We swap sides as the game of Onward works. It's not till next round that the objective changes position. I know sometimes you veterans forget that, so I gotta remind you.
Yeah, no, look, just watch that. You can literally lay down between. You can see between this box and cover this whole thing.
A lot of comms coming in. Nice position taken up here onto that corner. Icy has some cover, but over the top, their legs may be exposed on the backside. We'll have to see if Freak decides to push around that corner, if it's just a matter of a waiting game here. Take a look at the overhead, get an idea of the spread. It looks like Error 404 set up for a patient round on attack. I imagine they're waiting to see if Pantheon are going to commit to any kind of wild or unorthodox plays. We can bump up the lighting a little bit while we're up here. And so far, nothing too crazy from Pantheon. Outside of Freak, advancing pretty far down this lane. And we can take a little look at the defensive strategy here. Freak has a flashlight over the top. The idea is to bait out shots in this direction or blind your opponent, while Freak then peeks up and over the top. Because it's so dark here, oftentimes teams will run night vision on this objective so that they can have a little bit better control of this alleyway. But I don't think I see any night vision coming in here on the offensive side, so no one investing resources into that. It costs points out of your total points you can attribute into your kit, and so that's a smoke grenade gone, and the value clearly demonstrated. I wonder if there's any C4 placement here. Freak tries to fly the corner, can't quite connect. Then tucked back into the tight corner, and this is risky. Vulnerable to a heavy dose of grenade placement here, and now Freak completely flashed in the corner. No one's swinging on them yet. That flashlight doing a little bit of work,
Put a flash over. Put a flash over.
not a ton. Oh, and Freak's gonna swing. They go down. Icy holding the corner, catches them unexpected. Now, the north approach can begin. The likes of Jester and Absent-minded prof down here. Jester nearly dead. Tag now in the corner as they try and communicate to the team positions. A full 5-player press here up to the north side. It's going to come down to this defense here. Smokes and utility coming in. I think that's a flash over the top. A nade from Icy does catch absent-minded prof, but that flash completely blinded the entire team. So, about a 6-second pause. And the utility also counter coming down as everyone dumps their resources to this north lane. Smokes, Molotovs, everything being dispersed here, but still no real push yet from Error 404 there. I wouldn't say waiting too long, but they are just trying to play the stare here. And yeah, you can hear the call-outs, not afraid to push. Oh no, John just blasts the back of the teammate as they swing in front of their line of sight. Jester is down, but so there's only 2 left. Dual Shock and Apollo on the corner. They fortunately enough
watch Cap. I'm gonna watch
do not have to push, as they do have 2 down and able to radio win positions. Absent-minded prof still here in the corner. And Nate is going to confirm that, and Jester now gone, and so they actually do lose their line of communication and sight down this lane. It is up to them to now peek this corner, and if Apollo gets a little lazy on this check, it could lead to a cap. They do swing to find one. Cossack immediately kills. Tablet comes out. DualShock has to fly, and as they do, Icy finds the kill over the top. A great round on attack from Error 404 as they stack up to the north side and push down. There's your kill feed at the end of 2 rounds. Where do we go from here becomes the question. Next objective, kicking us down into the basement. As low as you can go on this map, and one objective that in my opinion lends itself to a defensive advantage. That north objective, I would say, definitely leans into the Marsoc side more often than not. I feel I see that objective get either capped on or won by Marsoc more frequently than it is effectively defended. Now, of course, you can shut down and deny pushes like that with effective C4 placement, good utility placement, and to Pantheon's credit, they had plenty of counter utility put out. It just wasn't quite timed up to Error 404 because Error 404 were playing a little bit off. They threw their smokes down and didn't push. They really were baiting out utility from the team. And then once the smokes dissipated, they threw some flashes, they went for the kills, and then they started to crash down the stairs. And so overall, a successful mission there from Error 404 to push down to objective, and well executed by them. But as we do go to this next objective, Error 404 goes over to defense, and so they have a chance here to kick this up 3-0 as they, like I said, do go into an objective that I think favors the defensive side more so than Marsoc. I'd love to see what chat's opinion is
I can go right.
on this OBJ, but round 3 kicking off here.
I know, but we both.
With Error 404 on defense and Pantheon on the attack. I have seen this objective capped.
Thanks, buddy.
Is that 2 C4s? I believe it is. One toss and maybe another held for good measure. Could be thrown at the corner. Jester already connecting with one in the basement, but John is here. Flies the corner and connects with
3 down.
3
down tunnels. 3 down tunnels. Assist down.
tunnels. Absolutely shut down by John in a quick swing. Just like that, Pantheon and their offensive attack completely cut apart. That is not the energy Pantheon need right now. And you know, as we mentioned before, they are the underdog in this series. Not to say that they can't compete against Era 404. We saw a very close round 1. Certainly able to bounce back in a 1v3 scenario. 2v4, not much different. DualShock and Freak can recollect here. Get rid of Badger Zombie in the top floor, and that puts them into a 2v3. John isn't really near objective. If they then push down the stairs together, there really is an opportunity to even the scale here. And so Pantheon, it's a matter of putting it all together, as Badger is gonna miss the cross from Freak. That will push them up a bit, and DualShock catches them out, but not in time. They lose 1. John's going to swing back to objective, and DualShock is into a 1v3. I believe an M203 smoke was launched towards Cossack. John has now rotated back, and so they are effectively covering the stairwell. Will be an interesting task for DualShock to push down here. We saw the C4 placed earlier as well. That's definitely something that I don't believe has been deployed yet. I think Cossack has been waiting, yes, for the sound of the stairs. DualShock now just kind of assessing the situation, making sure this whole upstairs is clear, as they check all of the different corners and dark, dangerous positions. You get a little bit more confident on their ability to push down the stairs. Still, though, unless they have a grenade or something to get rid of that C4.
No, I'm joking.
Little banter between teams. They can't hear each other through that floor. And I do think this approach will be best if they get rid of the C4. That C4 will be their demise if they don't toss a grenade down the stairs. Looks like there's only 2 smokes available. Won't quite be what they need unless it can bait Cossack into deploying their C4 early. Smoke number 1 out, smoke number 2 coming in. Still no C4 detonation. Very disciplined. Cossack's gonna wait until they push that corner, and there it is. As soon as the utility came, that C4 detonates, and right in between the smokes, Era 404 take their defensive round. Now, an opportunity for Pantheon to bounce back here as they get their chance on defense. And really an important round for them to at least get this point on the board. I think if they went 4-0 on their map pick to start the series, it would be a tough indicator for the remainder of what we are going to be seeing here. But I believe that was a similar start to the Newbies versus Silent Purge. A equally equal disparity in MMR there between those teams, and Newbies ended up winning that series. So, is that right? No, I think they had 12 points total, so they had to have. Regardless, Era 404 have definitely kicked off Pantheon's map pick very strong, and a couple of great rounds. Almost a win for Pantheon on the first round, but outside of that, they've had 2 or 3 left alive at the end of each round. Still, Pantheon are finding the kills, which is important. You know, if they were killless right now, it would be a very different story momentum-wise. I still think Pantheon can start to shovel some coal into the fire of the comeback train and get that thing rolling down the old tracks. It's just a matter of winning this round, winning each round piece by piece, because they are not allowed a loss unless they lose the map. Five and 1 for John. 3-1 for Emikasik. That's a lot of momentum into those two players' hands right now, and we'll have to see if that leads them kind of coming alive for round number 4 as we get back into the action. A potential map point. If Error 404 can put up a Marsuck round.
61893.
We still got
you.
this. There's still rounds.
2261 893. 2261 893.
Jester, maybe an opportunity to catch a few out. That C4 should be somewhat easy to identify unless it's properly detonated right as they peek the corner. A heavy stack in the basement here. The entire Error 404 team getting ready to attack from the belly of Subway. And it's an interesting approach because as long as they have control of the basement, they don't got to worry about anybody that's pushed up to the top like Freak or anyone else potentially up there, and they can just attack from, well, what is only one exit point. That's the real risk, that they are really limiting themselves to just pushing out from this bottom side, but I'll have to see what that looks like, because they also could try and attack Freak up the stairs and then push in from the top. It's a play with plenty of options.
Tunnel, I heard him smacking his lips. Them wet lips.
Damn. Fucked up.
Mwah, mwah, mwah. Oh, what the fuck? How? Yep, pick me up, pick me up. Yeah, he went back upstairs.
A little bait
King
and switch here. If anything, trying to keep Freak's attention
Double boxes.
while the rest of the team assesses the situation here. C4 has been detonated. Now utility coming out to try and get rid of Jester. There's a real opportunity to swing and catch a couple, but they cannot. Denny and John catch out Jester. Now their turn to exit as DualShock drops back and waits now. The call out there could be more C4 is a wise call out, as there certainly could be placements on the roof, but it doesn't seem to be any C4. We do see a nade toss at the edge too, actually. Those to clear C4 as the intended purpose. Also to obviously catch anybody out that is tucked in tight around the edges of the stairwell, which are also common defensive positions. But the push free here for this Error 404 team. DualShock in a 1v4. Prof has a angle, but it's a pretty meta one. Should be identified or avoided early. And Graham not necessarily in the equation. Freak could push in and collapse. But even then, Emikasik is actually still holding the back from that flank. Exactly. And so it is a nicely set up attack here. As John does get hit by absent-minded Prof. Not identified at range. What a great line of sight there from Prof. Smoke's going to come out. The confirm won't come in. John gets rezzed as bullets zip over their old position.
Guy in the left dead, guy in the left dead.
Okay, you did.
Did he have fun?
Nice pickup from Icy.
Watch out.
Gonna utilize this smoke to crash forward a bit more.
Relax. Let me...
Keeping their eyes on the prize, not trying to overextend here. As Zombie looks to redirect the smoke. Now the smoke dissipates. You can hear Badger concerned about that.
Do we have another smoke? Where Miko is.
Watch the left.
Oh, bullets caught there. That's going to require a heal, but Denny survives a bit longer. There's the connection from Zombie. Freak still hasn't rotated back, and Apollo on objective catches one. There's Freak flying in from the stairs. They eliminate another trying to collapse in. Pantheon holding things together. As now Denny sort of trapped out in the middle of the train tracks, drops back. John still supporting from the deep, and we are into a 2v3 for now. Freak gonna rotate back. We're gonna reinforce on objective defense. Let's see how that plays out. As it is gonna stick to this basement push. Cossacks still worried about the flank, so they're not gonna reconnect with the team, and we're into a 2v2 really. Will pre-fire up into Freak's old position. Graham risking swinging wide. They get caught out. Freak's still here, though, on the tight corner. They connect onto one remaining defender. 30 seconds left. No need to overextend as the attack has to push, and they recognize this. Cossack's going to throw the nade. There's the blind flash onto the corner, and Cossack able to survive the spray and pray. Error 404 put together 4 rounds of quality Onward and net themselves their opponent's map 1. That's what it was, plain and simple. Good team coordination on their pushes. You heard the active comms, a key element in a high-tier team. And take note, because Error 404 are a high-tier team. Number 2 in the worldwide ladder. Clearly, their strategy is effective. And it's interesting when you think about the different varying strategies that you do see at the high level, in that it's not very often that you do see that the full 4-player, 5-player press to one side. Oftentimes, by teams considered a risk to stack everybody up into one position. But Error 404 executing their plays nicely together as a team, spread when they need to, and then pushing in together when it matters, holding their backs from potential flanks, and ultimately taking Subway in solid fashion. When you look at the KDs, Pantheon were there. They did find kills. They were trading and winning certain firefights. But it really came down to the final few minutes or the final moments of the team's execution on their plays that Error 404 found the success. And so certainly a good effort from Pantheon there on map 1, but not enough. It takes us to map 2. Is going to be Suburbia. We'll have to see how this shakes out. Suburbia, a very close quarters map. Much like Subway, no surprise, Error 404 have picked into it. Take a look at the stats of both squads. Pantheon on Suburbia. I only played it once this season. That's impressive. But they have won it, and so they do have a 100% win rate. Look over at Error 404. They have played it 4 times and also won it 4 times with a 100% win rate. 81% of rounds won. That is insane. Wow. Error 404. That is a very high percentage for having 4 games played on that map. That's wild. Maybe a little bit nervous if you're on the Pantheon train, as it is not looking good for them going into what is Error 404's map pick. They are a away team. They get to pick map number 2. Just taking a look at folks in chat. We appreciate everybody stopping by and hanging out this fine afternoon. A nice crowd to enjoy some good high quality Onward action. Please do follow the Twitch channel, but also go to VRML.com and follow everything. The Twitter, the YouTube, the Facebook. We really do need to bump up the Facebook numbers. We would like to, at least. We'd appreciate support there from the community. But regardless, thank you for tuning in here today. We're getting back into it for round number 1. There it is. Of map number 2. Error 404 on the attack. A nade deployed early. Not early, but a nade deployed catches 1. Certainly early in the round, but not legally. You know that.
Oh, never mind. If you do that.
Watching Icy here, circling around, clearing out the center, making sure nobody's playing tricks on them. Actually don't know how we got into the 4v4. I missed the trade, but we are into a 4v4. Pantheon also have lost one. Oh, and the trade did happen up through the center.
I see we should start moving up a bit.
So both teams on that aggressive pullout not really working.
I'm good. An eye less. Fucking penetrate my eye.
John having some real life issues as IC connects with a nade that is gestured down. A commonly grenaded corner. A great way to clear out anyone defending behind this cement barrier. It's going to force the rotation, as you do see absent-minded Prof now watching in from the back, and that's an opportunity for Denny to connect from the shrubs. Meanwhile, on the other side, John finds themselves a kill. No, is shooting, excuse me, nothing connected yet. Icy will find one, though. Apollo Graham going down, and Pantheon getting cut apart on defense as DualShock swings around from the back and finds 2. Salvaging this round on defense. Now Badger crossing deep in the way out in the open. Maybe another opportunity for a kill from DualShock. They won't be able to see this cross because of the hedges. And John is on a flank, and so they have to be careful about how much they expose their position here in the corner. I think Zombie's looking for an angle underneath the hedges. Catch the kneecaps of DualShock. John still hasn't pushed up enough that DualShock will hear anything. What a great flank to keep Pantheon in this first round. Otherwise it was looking like a 1v4, and oh wow. Some ankle biters there, just barely missing. DualShock gonna rotate, utilize the hedges for cover. A nice shift that gets them away from the chaos and the nades coming in. Badger on their flank.
Red car. Okay, hold up, then I'll be distraction and then I'll just
John still playing it patiently back towards their spawn. But DualShock, I like the position, certainly off meta. Oh, and now trying to play this aggressively onto John's attack. Does have its risks as Badger is here and looking. They're going to continue to swing. DualShock checks and Badger connects.
I had to put him down, man.
Was looking like a smoke attempt as John tried to set up with the smokes there to push in from the north, but not quite strung together as the kill comes through, and that is now 5 unanswered points for Error 404. Tough pill to swallow on the Pantheon end of things, but still a decent battle. keeping things close, getting kills on the board with several players, and that's an important element really in keeping momentum on your team. So a nice effort, but not quite enough to lock in the W here. And even in the predictions in chat, a heavy favoring to the Error 404 side with 100% of the votes of the channel points committed to Error 404. Wasn't a lot of points, so worth noting. I think only 1 or 2 people chipped into that prediction, but you know, indicative of also the connoisseur votes that we saw on the website, and we mentioned with the rank separation. It is an underdog story for Pantheon. We've seen success in the underdog, so still not counting Pantheon out. Still looking at the successes that Pantheon is having, and I do still think there's opportunities for them to fight back here. Although it isn't their map, they do seem to play pretty well on the close quarters. It's just really a matter of keeping the momentum and your focus up. You know, losing several rounds in a row is tough in a game like Onward. Oftentimes, you're not familiar where you don't know where you got shot from or how that death resulted or what the reason is behind your lack of success, and it can become incredibly frustrating. But I don't know if that's really what's happening on the Pantheon side. Is, like I said, they are staying in it with a couple of connections throughout the rounds. Bit of blind fire. Oh no, a double C4 onto the corner. Oh, Pantheon cannot catch a break. These plays from Error 404 continue to hit them hard. Plays like that where John gets aggressive and surprises 2 on the corner with a C4 toss. There's a nice pickup.
193.
A trade.
Killed one at lane 1.
1 keeps Pantheon into the 2v4, and now Freak and Apollo Graham are alone in their efforts. John's still playing aggressive here. Graham does get taken out as IC flies up through the center. All that shooting giving away their position, and Error 404 don't have much to lose in this series right now because they haven't lost yet. Now looking at another potential round here as IC comes flying in for the flank. Is Freak gonna hear and recognize this? Yes, they are. Very aggressive from IC, but warranted as they had an accurate kill count. They had the 4-1 advantage. Felt comfortable enough in the rest of his team that they could risk going for a play like that. Freak on these rotations doesn't get caught out by Cossack because they haven't peaked. But there is a little bit of shoulder exposed there. There's a little bit of leg exposed from Freak. Quick heal comes in and Cossack drops back behind solid cover.
He crossed the bush line. He's on our side now. I'm smoked out.
We've seen some good attempted solo comebacks here from the Pantheon team. They've gotten close in several scenarios. 1v3 not out of reach, but still a challenge in itself up against a team like Error 404. Every player.
He's running around looting corpses.
Oh, yeah, everybody so far has found a kill this round.
I don't think he will come back to lane 1.
One of the more dangerous elements of a team is when everyone's shooting successfully. And there's a big pickup. Freak connecting onto Denny. Next up is Cossack if they decide to overcommit to that angle again. Freak is there and waiting. But ultimately, they don't have a ton of great... They do have the end-all, be-all angles. Cossack's watching the north, and they do have John, who is watching the ultimate cross. And Freak flies and catches Cossack as Cossack pops up. What a great response. Expecting Cossack to react off of their bait shots, it seems. As they now go to the LMG. John, the final defender, has to rotate off their position. Oh, and they know John's there. A great flash deployed. What a comeback from Freak.
Oh, fuck yes.
What a great clutch as Pantheon finally get one on the board. And that's what we've seen a lot of, but just not work out for Pantheon. They have had decent attempts, good attacks. Error 404 seem to find the advantage more often than not, but Pantheon have not been giving up in every round. And finally, a 1v3, or maybe even more, pays off as Freak ends in a 5-1 KD off of round 2. Very nice job from Freak, and that's a lot of energy. That's a lot of momentum into the Pantheon side of things. To have Freak pull that off, it really boosts the entire team. Next round is huge for Pantheon and their momentum in this series. And they go into a round that is, I would say, 80% defensive favored. Very rarely do I see Marsoc teams win. And in the cases that I do, it's because the defense, in my opinion, overextends. I think a lot of cases you don't need to push too far out on defense on this objective. Some teams do well to place their nades and utility pretty effectively into the courtyards and front yards of the objective space. But it is an objective right out of the spawn, and you're a wall to the back. So a big opportunity for Pantheon here.
My hand's shaky.
Get back into it. See what they can put up on defense as we swap objectives and get into round 3. Few early rounds into some bushes to deter any excessive aggression, but one thing we've seen from Error 404 is that they have a variety of strategies to deploy, and they are now seemingly deploying their patient Marsoc approach, sort of waiting back on their spawn street, make sure that Pantheon aren't going to try anything crazy on defense after coming out of a nice W, and it seems to be a decent reset strategy for Error 404 here as they try and regain control of the series, of the map, of the momentum of everything here. Puts the timing back into their hands instead of trying to really get over aggressive on their assault in a moment where maybe they would be tempted to. They are arguably doing very well against Pantheon right now, up 5-1 in overall points, swept map 1. But there's moments like this where you cannot let yourself get carried away, and Error 404 know that. They're a team that has experience dealing with swings in scoreline, and I think they're playing this just right on the attack. We'll have to see, though, as Pantheon are staying disciplined, as they have on their defensive rollouts, and as it is all a matter of time. Prof does get aggressive with some nice flashes up and over Those catch both Cobra and Badger, but there's a counter flash. What a great counter flash from Badger. Prop not able to fully commit to that swing. And that's utility gone from both players, but utility gone nonetheless. Catches them on the corner. Icy able to rid the defensive one there on the south. You can see Apollo responding. Jester dumping rounds. DualShock goes down in middle house. The push from Error 404 is coming in. Everybody alive now as they have swept across the aggressive defensive setups there. It's now, well, down to the final two around the objective space. Can hold on to this as Icy pops up and snags one, leaving Jester alone. And they're going for the cap. They know the kill count. Smokes are deployed. Jester, rightfully so, flies out to deny entry up from the center stairs, but 4 left alive on the attack. After losing 1 point, Error 404 say, we'll take that lead right back. Go up 2-1. I'll get predictions out. All right, as it is 1-1, so I'm a wizard. See what folks believe is going to be the outcome of map number 2. Off of a great clutch there for Pantheon. We'll have to see what they can do now on their attack, because that was a rough defensive round that I really think they needed. Error 404 now the opportunity to sit back and defend. Force Pantheon to come to them, as is the nature of the game, but in particular this objective. Let's see if that is their strategy, or if they try and commit to that kind of across the street defense, if you will, where you set up in anticipation of teams pushing into the midfield of the map. I love it. I love the game of Onward and the varying strategies at a high level, at a medium level, at every stage of play in this game. It's so great to see teams and players develop and create new strategies, evolve the meta, find new positions. It really does continue to be fresh. Suburbia, after 12 seasons, is still super fun to tune into. You still get great clutches like we just saw, powerful rounds like we just saw, and it's a fun map. That's for dang sure. We'll have to see if Pantheon have any fun this round, or if it's Error 404's time to shine as they go on to defense into round number 4, map 2.
Maybe actually, yeah. No, Demon, yeah.
No?
No reason, no reason.
Some aggressive shots early out of their spawn to potentially catch anyone out, but you saw everybody duck for cover. And it is going to come off to a standoff here on the corner. A risky push to make in a lot of situations, because Icy can throw flashes around this corner, which can be incredibly effective. Oh, and a bit of aggression there from Jester catches them a bullet to the head as Cobra finds the kill from them trying to push up onto the slide. Oftentimes a rule for teams to not go on the slide. It is a tempting scenario to push up to, but
Got him.
you really do end up overexposing yourself to so many angles.
Oh, fuck me. Watch out. Oh, I never pulled the pin.
Oh no. What a blunder. Icy goes down. DualShock finds the kill. That flash never finds its day in the sun. Cobra finding another kill. DualShock and Freak left into the comeback scenario that they continue to find themselves in.
Center house. He may be pushing. Watch out.
I don't know if it's over-aggression or what from the rest of the team, but Pantheon staying in it. Catches another swing there on the corner. C4 detonated, so that threat's gone. And no one else from Arrow 404 getting too aggressive on the push-out. Then he takes shots. That should be info. What an angle there from John. Is that? Were they able to look? No, I think there's maybe Badger peeking up on the slide. I'm not sure, but yeah, it was Badger from the back. I was wondering where that laser came from. Badger finds the kill from a flank attempt, and now Freak prone. Well, this feels familiar. 1v3.
Inside. He's behind the center house right now.
Good callouts giving information. Zombie trying to push in. He's ready. Freak catches one. Almost tagged there by Denny, but survives. Can they connect onto Denny there as they ID them on the outside window? Denny hearing the footsteps, wondering where this push is going to come from. Oh, they don't detect. Yes, they do. There's... Oh, the flash dropped, and oh, they should have thrown it to blind for the counter kill, but either way, an almost comeback from Freak. The panic there. You could see it. Grabbed the flash, and as soon as they saw that opponent there on the corner, the fumble in the flash grenade trying to pull the gun up. 8-3 for Freak here. Really trying to keep his team in this series, but not quite able to put it together 2 times in a row. Nothing to be ashamed of, but still a impressive effort nonetheless. And Pantheon now find themselves with a tough scenario ahead of them. Down 3-1. Their next objective taking them to Playground. Not exactly a... Well, I feel like this objective goes 50-50. So, who knows how the outcome, how this will turn out. But still, a solid performance here from Arrow 404 so far. Pantheon really got to keep playing the defense that they've been playing. I think maybe, not to say their setups have been flawed, because they have played their defense discipline. But it feels like Arrow 404 did their homework and are ready for certain positions. You know, they just seem to continue to catch the early picks that set their attacks up for success. Pantheon can't rely on clutches.
Overweight, Apollo. You said so many times that you're fat.
Just above average.
Means you're overweight. I'm gonna be honest with you.
Oh, this is gonna be a fast spawn. A lot of bullets flying around here. Utility coming up and over. Flashes coming in. Icy catches one as Freak advances forward. Jester over the top finds another, and it is just a lot of guesswork from both sides here. John able to get the revive onto IC. Freak able to get the revive onto DualShock. Everybody alive and well. Not anymore.
On the
Prof.
right side. You can cross
Caught
from
out
the
by a
APC.
Badger zombie. It opens up, like they called out, the option for them to push in now from this APC side. It also forces a rotation out of Freak, and it puts them in a tough spot. A lot of fire coming into their position. Denny able to catch Jester out is not ideal, and now just a matter of Cobra catching a toe and rotating out to the tank as Freak is completely pinched between 2 angles here. They could technically crawl up using the sandbags as cover. I don't know if Cobra could see that, so that is an option. Could utilize this smoke to their advantage. I like the angle they have taken up. Cobra Not necessarily ready for that, and that smoke actually allows Freak to drop off the angle as a kill comes in from Apollo. 3-3. Excuse me, 3-4.
One's pushing from all the way in the back.
Freak now able to reinforce the defense. Wow, they were damaged that whole time. They needed to come back to get this heal. That's why they dropped off the corner more than anything. What an adventure for them. DualShock still thrown in, playing it quiet. Apollo goes down. Cobra might catch this out. Denny's there. They go down. Cobra does catch the quick refrag. Denny able to be res. What a kill from Freak there on to Badger. The flank. Oh, the flank coming in from John is what pays the bills for Error 404. They lock in map 2. The series theirs with a scoreline of 8-1. Who do you play out map 3? It is Pantheon's pick. And I'm not so sure on the decision behind it. We'll have to look at the stats, but it is going to be Cargo. Not necessarily a map that this team has a high win rate on. Maybe they want to keep those strats to themselves, but let's take a look at these stats. Over on Pantheon side. For Cargo, a 4-1 win rate. So a real head scratcher on their choice of map here. 41% rounds won, so not bad performances on Cargo. Maybe a map that they just want to practice and try and improve on. They've accepting the loss. Not a strategy I necessarily prescribe to, especially since Pantheon, well, anyway, look at the stats. That's an interesting pick. 100% win rate, 1-1, 67% rounds won for Error 404. Obviously a team familiar with Cargo. They've been around, well, I guess only since season 11, which is something I have to continue to remind myself. This team, not necessarily a squad that's been in the league for multiple seasons, so I hate to say it, but it feels like Pantheon are sort of accepting their fate. And, you know, when you really want to try and climb the ladder and compete for that top 7 position, it's not necessarily the best way to go. So we'll have to see how Cargo rolls out for the likes of Pantheon as we go into the action. Round number 1, map number 3. Pantheon choosing, and already a kill coming together for absent-minded Prof. Jester nearly finds themselves into a team kill as they fly that angle, but John swings and catches 2. DualShock up towards objective, has the tablet out. Icy's calling it out, but DualShock's punching it in. Pantheon have the perfect offensive start to Cargo. I don't know. 2-0 lead out the gate, Pantheon. What a excelling in the chaos. And sure, it's map 3. Maybe both teams have phoned it in to some extent. But again, I don't feel like that's the case. It shouldn't be the case for these teams because every round 1 does matter. It helps you go up or down in rank. Error 404 do not want to lose this map. Just because they've managed to take 8-1 for maps 1 and 2, they don't want to let this Pantheon teams sully their win and make it 8-5. That's a much less powerful W if they get themselves skunked on map 3, but a great play from Pantheon gets them 2 on the board, and that's big. That is exactly what they need. They need the points, and really they need the map. So they now go on to defense. Of course, the objective, the diamond of death, so not exactly an easy one to defend. Can't blame Error 404 for letting the cap come through, but it did, and Pantheon have themselves a nice lead.
That's Denny.
Into the action we go.
Take your time,
Round
guys.
number
Take your
2.
time with it.
John, it's easy.
Сразу написано,
Anyone
я
below
справа
masters,
буду
bro.
смотреть.
No.
Well, then we just got capped off that round. Can you go?
Don't say that.
Make you feel better?
Like to hear that. Positive reinforcement coming in at the end of the day there from folks on the Air 404 squad. Kill out the gate for Pantheon and sets them up for a nice defensive round. Cobra has pushed through the smoke, but Absent-Minded Prof is there to deny that push from being successful. A quick refrag from Badger as Jester catches one on the edge. Pantheon clipping the wings of Air 404. It's now just the bird in the middle. Denny and Badger getting collapsed on from both ends as Denny does collapse back into the safety of the crates. Badger still holding that far side, although Free could be challenging this shortly. Catches Free completely out in the open, though, and a nice kill there. Sets the alarm bells
dead on
off
me.
for the remaining Pantheon defense.
not.
Just like Pantheon had managed to come back, though. Error 404 certainly capable of coming back. They just really haven't been put into the scenario where they've had to. I think almost every round they've had an advantage in the kill deaths, except for the cap and now this round. So Cargo, clearly a good pick for Pantheon. What do I know as Badger works their way up slow and silent to the potential flanking position. Oh, and those shots. Yeah, Denny not happy with missing those.
I know. I'm working on it.
Shooting. I'm just concerned why he thought that was a great idea. He just ran in front of him, dude. 99326 You trolled him.
Ooh, that's a nice flash. Right onto Jester's position. Pushed quickly enough. DualShock still fully able to see.
Killed him. I think there's D2.
It's a nice connection, and now it's all up to Badger, who has managed to slowly work their way up to the flank. Let's see what they can put together into the 1v3.
D1, I'm not sure.
3 left on defense to conquer.
Did you hear one?
The objective open to them, essentially. As Apollo goes down,
She's behind.
it's going to be information. Finally, Badger's stealth move given away, but now it's a matter of
the front, but
Pantheon
yeah, I got the
countering
back.
Badger from this side. Should have an accurate kill count, so Jester and DualShock should know that there's only one left alive, but maybe not, as they both set up on either edge. Oh, Badger does go down. Jester able to find them through the doorway. Pantheon are up 3-0 on Cargo. If anyone has decided to phone in map 3, it seems to be Error 404. Could be the objective placement, who knows, but still. What has otherwise been a commanding performance from the Error 404 team is now a complete reverse. Both energy, momentum, everything. A cap, a nice solid round win there on defense. Pantheon now goes on to the attack. We change objectives and we get to see if their second assault has success and if they can 4-0 map number 3. Again, it would be massive. It would really help in terms of limiting the damage done on this loss. Already, it's not going to be too impactful because there is a big separation in MMR. But if they can then minimize the scoreline separation, it is really going to help them at the end of the series in terms of still staying up in that top 20. They are probably pretty close to being bumped out of at least the top 20 if they suffer a tough loss here against Pantheon. But, well, we're not quite there yet. I guess we are there. They are losing. They are going to lose. But how much is the question. Certainly a lot to look back on for Pantheon as well. They had a couple of very close attempts, close rounds. I think the one real key takeaway for me, at least watching it from a top-down perspective, has been that they, again, have not ever had an advantage. I think last round was the only time Pantheon have had a kill advantage.
Those silly flashes.
Otherwise, it's been
Guys, listen, when you're flashed, throw the
Error
flash down,
404
remember.
putting together a great performance as a team, and well, they're just not having a great time on cargo. As we go back into the action for round number 3, we'll see if Pantheon can string together 4 unanswered rounds. A lot of flashes, counter flashes. John playing aggressive on the rollout, but I think they're blind. Badger able to get rid of Jester on one side. Pantheon have to be careful to not get completely picked apart early, because again, it has been something that's plagued them. John here on the corner is going to find one, and just like that, a 5-3 advantage into Error 404. Now this trio left to fend off this squad and try and attack this objective. Badger flanking, catches one through the cracks. Freaking absent-minded now have to worry about both ends. On offense, nonetheless, they're getting attacked, essentially. As Freak is able to get some utility off their down teammate. Prof has to work up across 2 defenders here on this line of sight. And there it is. Freak pushes out. Icy connects. Prof doesn't turn, and Icy finds 2. Error 404. Do not lose a single defender, and at least get one in map number 3. I say at least because Pantheon now go on the defense. They have their opportunity to throw out a similar successful defensive round, but I don't know if it'll be that easy, because Error 404 now have a little coal in the engine. They're starting that comeback train themselves, and we'll have to see if they can get that engine rolling with a nice Marsoc round here. This objective's certainly cappable. Seen it capped plenty of times, so not out of the scope here for this team. And, well, map 3 certainly playing out to be exciting, to say the least. Really, I feel every round has been great to watch. Whether it's the clutch for Freak or close rounds, good Error 404 plays. It has been a solid series. But we are now at what could be the conclusion, and Pantheon are putting up a great fight, just a little bit too late. Would have loved to see, I guess, this battle in earlier rounds, but they do seem to suffer again from those early picks. I feel like that's probably the #1 thing impacting them as a team. So I don't know if that's a need for them to play things a bit more passively on offense or what. But still, Pantheon looking at their map win against Error 404, which would be something to definitely take home. As the underdog teams, the separation in MMR, it would be a big, I would consider it to be a positive, a net positive when you think about the overall series, if you're able to take at least one from this Error 404 team. And so we're into a quick 4-4 as we trade down that long alley. Jester pushing up early, didn't want to run into anything, and now everybody else set up into their positions. A little bit of a weak stack here, just relying on Prof to hold, and they don't have necessarily the full coverage. Just watching this late angle, but it might be enough if IC does commit to pushing in from this crate. Standard Error 404 procedure, though, something to put down in your notebook. Not necessarily getting too aggressive on their offensive rollout, allowing Pantheon to push to them, trying to play off of their desire to get aggressive and rotate just like DualShock did, and Cobra finds that kill.
Okay, one's pushing tunnel. That's the translation.
4-3, just like that. Pantheon again in a deficit. Not exactly what they want on defense either.
Блин, я так хочу забрать магазины.
Limited utility deployed so far as well, and so who knows what could come out here for this attempt. Maybe even a cap opportunity
Guy in the dark alley.
could present itself. Denny can avoid getting picked up by Prof if they fly out of this doorway. Freak doesn't have an angle here. We'll have to see. We'll keep an eye on the overhead as well, as there does seem to be some interesting rotations going on. Denny able to catch out Prof. It does leave Freak alone. They've lost the edge on defense, and now Freak in a 1v4. Error 404, I don't even think are necessarily considering the cap. Freak is smartly pushing up to objective, deploying utility around the space, and now really into a good defensive rotation here where they will be able to stave off a cap attempt. That is the end goal, and dying does stave off a cap. Error 404 climbing back into this, though, do put up another point onto the board. And like I said, they want to take this W with some power. They want to go up in MMR as much as possible off of this series, and they've done so well on the first two maps, it would be a shame for them to throw away what has been a good performance so far. They don't seem to be too intent on doing that themselves. We swap sides now, so Error 404 onto the defense. We also change objectives, and it's one that I think is pretty tough to cap. So it'll come down to how Error 404 defend if they get aggressive. And we very well could be headed to a 3-3 for map number 3 here. Not going to count anything out, but so far, a pretty solid performance from really, again, both teams. And well, it's just a matter of now seeing how it all shakes out on the final few rounds of Cargo. A quick shout out to our sponsors. You've seen them ticking across the screen. Several sponsors coming together to offer what is now a $7,000 in cash and hardware prize pool. Those sponsors are ProTube VR. They have fantastic mounts that help stabilize your aim in-game. Also really cool haptic feedback mounts, pistol mounts with haptic feedback, all kinds of cool stuff they're coming out with. I recommend you check out ProTube VR. VR Cover, offering fantastic comfort to any headset that you have. A must-buy when you get a headset. Go look up VR Cover. VRML, obviously contributing in to that prize pool. HyperX with the fantastic HyperX Quadcast S that I'm using right now, but also the Cloud 2s, amongst other prizes that we offer into our champions. And Asterion with great mounts and other products for your VR headset. Please do go check out those sponsors. I think we have a link that I'd love you guys to click in chat.
Nice.
If you want to check out VR wear products, but action. Pantheon catching one early as Error 404 seemed to set up what I think it was an aggressive defensive positioning up through the middle. Quick res, remedies that situation. And now, oh my goodness, I see somehow surviving. No one's seeing him here. Seeing the crates finally. DualShock. Quick down and finds the kill. Chaos on the push as everybody from Error 404 is going down. Pantheon are looking to clutch this up. Apollo finds Cobra. Denny with a quick swing on a refrag. They've lost control of objective. Is Denny going to react accordingly? They try, but Apollo finds the kill. And Pantheon do take map 3. Took them a few more rounds, but they manage it 4-2. And it keeps us with an ending scoreline of 10-5. Again, much better than 12-2. So, a good effort from Pantheon at the back half of the series, but at the end of the day, not quite enough to get them the W they were looking for. And I think it started with just a rough start on Subway. From there, the energy was in Air 404's hands. Again, a shout out to everyone that was tuning in here this afternoon. I really do appreciate you all stopping by, hanging out, and catching the action for what has been a fantastic series. That'll be it for me here on the desk. We got games throughout the course of the week. Be sure to tune in tomorrow night, 6 p.m. PST, Saturday, 6 p.m. PST, Sunday, 12 p.m. PST for more Onward VRML action. I'm sure there'll be other games on VRML 2 and 3 as well, so be sure to catch that if you're a true VRML connoisseur. But that has been it from me. My name is Ben NightFiree with 2 E's. I appreciate everybody that has been stopping by, and until next time, stay classy.